Welcome back. We're going to look at our example dashboard again. This time we're going to make some revisions that were designed to help you make the suggestions we just had about data visualization a little more concrete. So if you guys remember, this is Professor Q's organic chemistry class at Big State University. And here we're looking at a March 1st date where we have several quizzes in. We have the class quiz average in the left at the top, the quiz distribution for the semester, the left and the bottom, with the last two quiz grades here, and a quiz average for each student on the right. And you'll see that these are in numerical order, reverse numerical order, going from student 22 to student 1 for both of these, so that we are looking at the same student all the way across, but we're not able to compare the quiz average to the last two quiz grades. So if we start top left, one change that we might make for this particular class, since we can assume that somebody teaching organic chemistry is fairly data literate, is that we could go ahead and put in a box and whisker plot. And that's going to give them more information than the previous design had, where we just had the class average. And we were really pushing exactly the change in that, which we know can be very susceptible to extremes. Um, Rather than the more sophisticated measures that are here, where we have both the mean given by the line, but also the standard deviation, and then some information about um, just how dispersed the data was more generally. We can also convert the quiz distribution. So if you notice in this last slide, we had the very helpful Microsoft splits here, which were not related to standard distribution changes, and how people convert from numerical to grades in most cases. So we've moved here to see that most of the students are getting A's. We have you know 20 or so quizzes over the course of the semester so far. Actually closer to 30 that are in the B range, and then 10 in the C range, and a handful underneath that. Now, the next change that we're making here is in the two columns that we had. We've now combined uh, the class average with the last two quiz grades so that we're lined up together. The average is in gray, which is a different hue than the light blue and dark blue used for quiz 7 and quiz 6. And we have added a sort function. Now, these are now sorted by quiz average, so you can see, right, um, that there is, a decreasing quiz average as we go from the top to the bottom here, right? So the bottom students are the ones that are struggling the most. We might also want to add ways to spotlight specific students, right? So we might want to spotlight a student with a failing average. This might be difficult to see here, but it is highlighted with just a line. We might think about ways that we could make this less hidden, right? But it is at least a noticeable difference. Um, in this case, we went with just the outline change because we want to be able to add contrast. So here's, quizzes with a below average grade if we thought that was something that was important. But we might want to have both a below average and a failing grade be highlighted. And if we use the lines for one, then we can use the change in the filling for the other. And that allows us, to spotlight more than one thing. Again, more is not always better, but these are options that we want to think about as we're, trying to make these decisions. That said, this is still not a very actionable dashboard, right? And what do I mean by that? We don't know what to do to help these students improve just by looking at this dashboard. The teacher might have some ideas because they, ostensibly they've taught this class before, or they've taught similar classes, they probably know the course material better than us. But if we really want a dashboard that is going to help them to identify the things that are important for improving the students' learning, we're going to need either more course internal metrics or more course external metrics. And we're going to need to look at how they align with the teacher's agency in order to make them actionable, right? What are the goals for these students? How do we know about how they're already behaving in terms of the course or in terms of other things in their life that might be keeping them from performing well? And how can we make that data available in a way that is safe for those students, right? But that allows us to encourage uh, better performance, either by assigning additional material or better behavior by helping to support their study habits.